What's up, gamers? Dan here from BeAGameCharacter.com, and we're back again for another edition of Q&A Tuesday. So let's jump into the questions. My question for you last week was, if you could pick from one of three things, which would you pick? It was, let's see, learn faster, as in learn information faster and retain it better, become more self-disciplined, or stay positive, stay more mentally tough, able to bounce back from stuff. So let's jump in. Here's BenRex77 who says, "Hello, Dan." Hello. I like it when the Q&As are a little longer. Last week's was a little long. But cool, I'm glad you enjoyed it. My choice would be to learn faster. I study electrical engineering, and I'm kind of inefficient in learning. It would be nice to be more disciplined, but I don't think that is a problem at the moment. It depends heavily on the environment and how disciplined I am. Sometimes I am very well disciplined, and sometimes I can do nothing at all, but I think in my current situation, the first point is more important. I don't need to be more positive. I mean, who else can live their entire life with myself? This point is definitely not my problem. So, that's one for learning faster. And now the question for you. Do you know a method to learn faster and more efficiently? Since I studied the University of Applied Sciences, is to do my homework at school. Oh, wait, one thing I started since I studied the University of Applied Sciences to do my homework at school. I try to learn in a group, but when I learn in a group, there are a lot of distractions. One thing that works sometimes very well is to learn alone when everyone went home. Then I need to start listening to loud music, like Underwater Beats, the best music for studying, but that only works sometimes. And I think I learned the wrong things or the wrong way, because on some subjects I can learn for days and still only just pass. Another problem is that there's too little time to even do all the homework. Do you have some tips that work for you? Have a nice week, Benny. Okay, so I am going to reveal a little secret here. I played a little bit of a trick on you guys. First of all, I will answer your question. Don't worry, we'll get to that in a second. But I asked about your preference between learning faster, staying more self-disciplined, and being more positive, because I will be coming out soon with a new YouTube channel, as well as eventually an accompanying video course on these subjects, specifically getting better control of your brain, learning faster, staying more focused, staying more self-disciplined, stuff like that. Obviously, the YouTube channel is not up yet. Neither is the video course. However, if you go ahead and click the link in the description below, or a little annotation that I'll have pop up here, you can go ahead and hop on an email list for that to get notified when it happens, because we're going to be approaching all this sort of content from an angle that exists outside the scope, I think, of Be a Game Character. This is why I'm starting its own channel. But to answer your question, methods to learn faster and more efficiently. In school, my personal favorite method was probably flashcards. I would say flashcards, because typically in school, the most important thing, unfortunately, is just memorization. And flashcards are very, very good for memorization. Now, I did not study electrical engineering at the University of Applied Sciences, so I'm not sure if that's the case for you, if memorization is really the issue, or if it's more hands-on stuff. But even if it's hands-on stuff, I feel like flashcards can still work, because basically the way that I would do flashcards is I would make up flashcards with the terms and stuff that I needed to remember, the concepts I needed to remember, the formulas I needed to remember, and I would write them down on the cards, and I would run through the flashcards. And the key is, you need to run through the flashcards, and the first time you run through, like, look at the answer, like right away, go through, look at the question, and if you can't think of the answer immediately, just flip it over, look at the answer. And then the next time, go through, read the question, give yourself like maybe 5-10 seconds to answer it. If you're still not sure, flip it over. And the key is to increase the time between when you last read the answer and when you try to answer the question again every single time. So, the gap between each session would grow longer. So it would be like first maybe 5 minutes went by since the last time I ran out of flashcards. And I would actually set timers. I would set a timer for myself. And when the timer went off, I'd be like, oh, it's an hour later. Time to go run my flashcards again. So I would go and run the flashcards. And then I would go and do something else. And then, okay, it's been 2 hours. Go run the flashcards again. And anything that I got really stuck on, I would repeat several times in that run through. By increasing the amount of time and going and doing other things in between flashcard runs, what you do is you allow your brain to start building the circuitry that your neurons function on a relational loop, basically. So you want to build that loop that has to do with that memory right there. You have to build that loop that has to do with what you need to know for, your test or for your practical on hands or whatever the knowledge is, you need to build that loop in your neurons so they relate to each other. And by allowing time to go by and then reinforcing it, you're building basically a habit in your neurons that allows them to clump together more easily and better. So, and by having stuff happen in between, you're giving your subconscious time to process the information that you're shoving into it over and over again. Another great thing is to take a nap. When you get to the longer periods, run your flashcards, take a nap for half an hour, then run your flashcards again right when you wake up. Because going into sleep mode kind of allows your brain to sort stuff into place. And then after you run your flashcards for that day, go to sleep, sleep the night, next morning wake up, run them again, first thing. So that would be my recommendation. That was one of my favorite methods in school was flashcards. So I'd say give that a shot for whatever you can apply it to. Again, I don't know about electrical engineering if you're going to be able to use flashcards that much, but for whatever you can apply it to, try and do that because it'll really cut down on the amount of work that you're putting into learning certain material, which will allow you more brain power, more willpower for the rest of your material. So give that a shot. Thank you, Benny, and I hope you have a nice week as well. Moving on, it is Vincent Madden. What's up, dude? Hey, Dan, I would choose to stay positive and be more mentally durable because of the three, that is the one I am simply the worst at by a large margin. Used to be a problem for me as well. I sympathize with you on that. Now, my question is, are you more excited by the Warcraft or Assassin's Creed movie? I would say the Assassin's Creed movie, just because even though I played World of Warcraft a lot, and I played the first Warcraft games, I was never that huge on the lore for that game. So I'm like, kind of ambivalent about it. Whereas Assassin's Creed, I am totally all about the lore. And on top of that, watching the two movies, I feel like Assassin's Creed is just going to be, I don't want to say more accurate to the game because the Warcraft movies look very, very accurate to the game as well. But I think capturing the style and the feel of Assassin's Creed and putting into a realistic movie is going to work better than capturing the feel and the style of Warcraft and putting into a realistic movie. I feel like the way I tell people is I feel like, sometimes you have, nerdy movies, comic book movies, game movies that are only good if you like the comic book or the game. And then sometimes you have comic book movies or nerdy movies or whatever that are a good movie even if you have no knowledge of the source material and you have no personal connection to it. I feel like Warcraft is going to be that movie that you have to enjoy Warcraft already to really enjoy the movie. Whereas Assassin's Creed, I feel like is going to be the kind of movie that people that have never played an Assassin's Creed game could get into because it looks like it's just a higher quality movie to stand on its own. And I like good movies. So that's why I'm a little more excited about the Assassin's Creed movie. But don't get me wrong, I'm really excited about both. Also, which character class do you identify as and what would you most like to be, assuming they are not the same? I most identify with the Brawler class. We're talking about the classes from RPG Fitness, which if you have not hung out on the blog a lot or purchased RPG Fitness, the classes are you have for 3 different archetypes. You've got Rogue, you have Fighter, you have Tank. So in the Rogue archetype, you have Assassin, you have Saboteur, and you have Sniper. In the Fighter archetype, you have Monk, you have Weapon Master, and you have Brawler. And then in the Tank archetype, you have Paladin, you have Warrior, and you have Juggernaut. So I would say probably I most identify with the Brawler class in the Fighter archetype, although also the Juggernaut class in the Tank archetype. So I like being really strong. I like thinking of myself as relatively unstoppable. And I like to think of myself as well-rounded. The hallmark that sets the Brawler apart from the Monk, even though they both tend to fight with their bare fists, is the Brawler is kind of just go at you, aggression, might be kind of sloppy, but also power moves kind of a thing, whereas the Monk is pure technique and very precise and whatever, and that's just honestly not me. I'm just going to throw everything I've got at somebody and just outlast them at the very least, if not completely overwhelm them. So I would say either Brawler or Juggernaut. I'm currently doing a modified version of the Juggernaut workout, but I would say as far as my own personal self goes, probably closer to the Brawler. I'm just looking to build a lot of strength right now, which is why I'm doing the Juggernaut workout. So, good questions. Thank you, Vincent. It's always a pleasure. Finally, we have S. Barnier West, who says, easy, learn faster. So that's 1 for each. We have one that's, I'm sorry, no, that's not 1 for each. That's 2 for learning faster and 1 for staying positive. Learn faster. Acquiring, applying, and retaining knowledge faster is essential in the world we live in today. I mean, if I had that years ago, I wouldn't have failed the same math classes like 8 times. Absolutely. You are correct in that, yes, acquiring and cataloging and processing knowledge and also being able to interpret and present it, literally the most important skill that you can learn in our generation right now. The most important one. Now, the question. When does time change? Noon, 12 p.m., when the sun is over your head. Afternoon, technically 12:01, but more commonly used for like 2 or 3 p.m. Evening, when does that happen? And when does it become nighttime? I often find myself saying good afternoon, and everybody looks at me like, you idiot, it's evening. Or good evening, and then, idiot, it's nighttime. Help. I too have struggled with this. After years of working in customer service and wishing people to have a good night when in fact it was morning, or wish people have a great day when in fact it was 7 o'clock in the evening. My personal merits for this. Okay, so morning is any time before 12 p.m. That's easy. Afternoon, any time from 12:01 to 5 p.m. 5 p.m. onward is evening. And the way that I judge this is that I think that it's not evening until it's not outlandish for somebody to be eating dinner at that time, or supper, depending on what term you use. So until they've had their evening meal, you can't really call it evening. So evening is any time in which dinner might happen. And one of my best friends growing up, my friend Danny, same name, he actually, I remember his family used to eat dinner very early. They used to eat dinner between 5 and 5:30. They had the dinner earliest out of all my friends. Usually I had dinner around 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock-ish. They had dinner at like 5, 5:30-ish. So that is my time frame, because Danny, my friend who lived down the street from me when I was a kid, had dinner at around 5, 5:30-ish, usually right when his dad got home from work. Then that's when evening begins, because that's when Danny had dinner. Sticking with it. So, thank you. Excellent question. Off the beaten path, as I've come to expect from you, sir. And we're not going to rehash the snouts issue from last week, but that was also a good one. So, again, to rehash what I was talking about before, I will be starting a new YouTube channel very soon. If you want to get in on it, go ahead and click in the link down below in the description. You will be taken to an email sign-up. You will have to put in your name and your email address. You will do this because you want awesome content that has to do with how to learn faster, how to gain more self-discipline, and how to be a more positive and mentally durable person, as well as a whole bunch of other stuff. It's basically, you want this. You really want this. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be just for you and helping you boost this, the most important tool that you have. So go ahead and click the link in the description below right now. Go sign up for that email list. You will get information as soon as it comes out. And on top of that, you're also going to get sent a short survey so you can help me tailor the course and the channel to exactly what you want, including picking the people that we profile for the YouTube channel and the kind of content that goes into the channel and the course itself in relation to what you want to prioritize. And it's way more than just self-discipline, happiness, and, learning faster. So go ahead, one more time. Link in the description. Check it out. Question for you for next week. What is your dream that you are working towards right now? What is it that you want more than anything? What's the big goal? What is the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow that is what you are trying to get to? Tell me what that is, and I will see what I can do to help you get there. So go ahead. Let me know what your biggest dream is. And I never answered my own question. As far as what I would pick out of those 3 options that I gave you, I would pick learn faster, because I am already pretty self-disciplined and I'm already a pretty positive individual, so I would definitely go with learn faster. So that's my answer from last week's question. I'm sorry I didn't give you that before. So anyway, like I said, tell me your dream next week's question. Ask me a question for next week as well, and go ahead and sign up to the email list below. As always, remember, live boldly, change the world, and continue to be awesome. Bye-bye.